Isn't that an amazing video of those whales swimming right under that paddleboard? Pretty good stuff, eh? Rachel Schoutsen here with you this morning. It is January the 20th. Yesterday was Blue Monday, so today, of course, it's Terrific Tuesday. Yeah, we're getting you out of the winter blues, and here's a look at some of our developing stories. 40 centimeters and counting. We actually just had some new totals updated. This is closer to 50 now. We'll tell you who's getting that. Also, the story of 3 clippers. Where will they be feeling that? And also, polar versus Pacific. When we talk about that, we're mentioning the air masses. Who's getting the warm, mild flow, and who's still in the freezer? This is a look at some of the cloud tops and some of the stormiest weather. We're looking at you in Labrador, as well as the northern peninsula of Newfoundland as well. This is where we do have multiple watches and warnings in place. Look at this, the freezing rain warnings, blizzard warnings, snowfall warnings, the wind, that has now dropped. So again, the winter system, it still continues, just making its way now out of Saguenay and Labrador. It's still really going to be your issue today. So watch out for the low visibility, the blowing snow. As we look at Newfoundland this morning, you can see much of this is falling as rain, especially along the Burin, the Bonavista, and the Avalon. When we get into the pinks, that's where the freezing rain is. And along that northern peninsula, yes, that is where the freezing rain warnings are in place. Let me show you this video. It really paints the picture of what 50 centimeters of snow looks like, 10 centimeters in Goose Bay. So you can really see where the target of that storm was. Now, this is going to continue to still track further to the east. So Goose Bay, Wabush, you're still picking up some more snow. I'll show you what Shediac looked like. What a big difference in terms of the elements of this system. Huge amounts of snow to the north and lots of rain to the south. We had that warmer push of air throughout the Maritimes, so that's why all the precipitation, well, it fell as a lot of rain here, 27 millimeters. Peak wind gusts as well, 82 in Halifax. As we look at some of the averages of snow, January Gander usually gets around 96. Right now you're at 46, so not too much. And we're breaking down all these details throughout the hour.
It's closer than you think.
Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But Eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now, as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time. Ooh, lots of winter weather there, and I want to talk about some winter temperatures. This is a recap of some of the high temperatures yesterday. And you might be thinking, oh, it looks pretty good out in Montreal or St. John's and Halifax. These temperatures are on a big drop today. Montreal, 1 degree was the high yesterday. Today, your high is -12. Yes, dressing very differently today than you did yesterday, as it really is a battle of the Pacific air and the polar air. We look at Thunder Bay, and basically anything west of that, you're above seasonal and you're experiencing great temperatures that will actually grow throughout this week. But Ontario in through the Maritimes, especially in Labrador, cool temperatures. This morning it's -17 in Montreal. Now, as we recap some of the snow, I want to show you this must-see video. This is the snow out of Labrador. Have a look at this. Labrador City at the Wabush Airport, you have recorded over 50 centimeters of snow. And with the wind gusts peaking at around 55 kilometers an hour, visibility is down to 500 meters. Yes, blowing snow is a huge concern. Travel is just treacherous through these areas, and unfortunately, the snow will continue yet again throughout the day today. Tyler Hamilton, our meteorologist on duty right now, he said you've seen about 60% of the storm, so still quite a punch to go with this. Now, as we look at the storm summary so far, this is what Monday looks like. Some of those peak wind gusts, 82 kilometers in Halifax. Some of the rainfall totals, 31 millimeters in Yarmouth. You were under the rainfall warning. That's quite a bit of rain for January. Imagine if all of that fell as snow. And speaking of snow, here's a look at what you've seen in January compared to the average. So still a few days left in January, about 11 days left. St. John's, 89 centimeters is the average, but you've seen 85. So very likely to go over that January average in St. John's. This is a look at the snow today. This is the system that's continuing to bring a very messy mix of winter weather throughout Labrador. Notice as well a few flurries down through the Maritimes. You could see that especially with the sea effect snow along the western edge of Newfoundland. As we look at our temperatures this afternoon, not a freezing cold day, but a huge difference in compared to what you saw yesterday. Halifax was 8 yesterday, high of 1, Charlottetown -2. The winds also going to be playing a factor today. Now let me show you this. This is what the snowfall was looking like. 9. The big bulk of the snow, it is now out of Saguenay, but you could still see a few scattered flurries throughout the day today. And again, a much calmer day along the St. Lawrence as that system now continues to track further to the east. This is a look at some of the snowfall totals, 30 centimeters for you. And look at the rain, quite a big difference depending on where you were. South of the St. Lawrence, it was quite the rain story for you. This is the mix today. You could see a rain-snow mix again. Freezing rain warnings are in place for the northern peninsula of Newfoundland. Now stay with us throughout the show. We're talking about these cold temperatures and the snow in Labrador.
So you have nearly 30 millimeters of rain in parts of the Maritimes. You're cooler now. We'll see some flurries off the Bay of Fundy and some sea effect for western Newfoundland, but this has to be a big featured story today.
Oh, for sure.
This is additional snow.
Yeah, and we're talking about extreme cold as well. Blizzard warnings, freezing rain in some places. Yeah. Quite a mix.
Nasty stuff. Much colder this morning in southern Ontario and Schoutsen.
And thankfully, the system has now moved out of Saguenay, so you're seeing a clearing today, so a few light flurries.
That's right. Once you go west of Quebec City, you're just talking about cold. Now, in terms of what we're expecting, freezing rain warnings are in place. Bonavista North, Bay of Exploits, west towards the northern peninsula, so slippery driving conditions. Grosswater Bay and north up towards Nain, that's where we have blizzard warnings.
Yeah, now let's take a look at some of these temperature trends here. So, extreme cold, that's what you're looking at through Labrador City. A huge drop in temperatures in Quebec. Yesterday, it was about 2 degrees in the morning in Montreal. Look at this now.
Little clipper coming into Windsor, maybe 2 to 3 centimeters of snow by Wednesday. Toronto, just some clouds. Temperatures generally seasonally cold, but nothing extreme. Meanwhile, across the west, because this is really a Pacific versus polar air mass.
Totally.
And we can find where the Pacific air is going to be.
Oh, absolutely. Edmonton, 7 degrees for Thursday and Friday as you end off the week. Very comfortable, very mild. Now, let's get into more of a mild topic here.
Okay, yeah, this is a view from 25 kilometers above. The pink here, these are the strong winds up 200 plus kilometers per hour. There's the polar vortices there. This little blue line here is the intertropical convergence zone, and there's the subtropical jet there. But what does this look like,
Yeah, what
Rachel?
does it remind you of? We've been asking on Twitter, some people saying Oscar the Grouch, maybe a Ninja Turtle, but look at this. This is what it is. Let me find the map here. Scroll down, and that is Jabba the Hutt. You can read more about this online at the Weather Network. Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But Eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time. I'm glad you're here this morning, just after 6 a.m. Eastern Time, and here's a look at our developing stories. 50 centimeters and counting. That's 50 centimeters of snow. Who was lucky enough to get that? The story of 3 clippers, where's that headed? And also polar versus Pacific. We're talking about the air here. Who's into the mild temperatures? Who's still in the deep freeze? This is a look at some of the cloud tops, and you can see where that active weather is over Labrador right now, Newfoundland's northern peninsula as well, and this is where winter storm warnings are in place, freezing rain warnings as well. And here's a look at the colorful mix of all of our warnings this morning. Really, it is just such a winter scene up in Labrador, and I want to show you what it looks like right now. This is must-see video. Have a look at this intense snow. We're going to go to the video there of Labrador. Maybe we don't have it in. Oh, there it is. There we go. That video here. And the snow will still continue. Now, we can see the mixing along the northern peninsula of Newfoundland here. The rest of this is just going to be falling as rain. And for the Bonavista, the Burin, the Avalon, all of that rain tapering off throughout the day today. When we talk about these huge snowfall totals, 50 plus centimeters recorded at the airport. And when we get the wind gusts of around 55 kilometers an hour, visibility is terrible. Treacherous. City got with this system, and what the Maritimes saw. Lots of snow to the north, quite a bit of rain to the south, and that's because of the mild temperatures. This precipitation, well, it was just too warm to fall as snow. 27 millimeters in St. John's, 31 in Yarmouth. You were in the rainfall warnings. This is a good amount of rain for January. Now, when we talk about the snow, when we talk about some of the totals, This is your January average in the blue, and this is what you've already seen this month. So some areas could exceed that average. St. John's, yeah, we're looking at you. Well, it's at around 5 degrees Monday morning. This is the early hours of Monday morning, and you can see today down to minus 12 now, minus 18 in Barrie. It's extremely cold this morning in places like Timmins up to the north. These are the actual temperatures: minus 26, minus 30, minus 31. Add the wind chill into that. This is where you're feeling more closer to the minus mid 30s, maybe even a minus 40 with that wind chill. As we recap our story in the east, we are seeing a clearing today throughout the Maritimes, but watch as these clippers start to come through Ontario. This is a little bit of snow for Windsor. Another one moves through as well, and we're watching this. This one could be bringing some snow into the Greater Toronto area Friday night in through Saturday, and then these two lows here. This could be a very stormy end of the week into the weekend for the Maritimes. We'll take you across the country right now. This is some of the temperatures into the afternoon, the polar air and the Pacific out to the west. Don't go anywhere. We have more on your weather story coming up right here. And isn't that incredible? The whale swimming right under that paddle border. That's all in force of nature. And right here on the Weather Network, it's January the 20th. Yesterday was Blue Monday. We're calling today Terrific Tuesday. And I'm going to talk about some of the Monday blues, the winter blues, coming up in just a second. But first, it's time for this. Share your weather and the six-legged deer. This was taken by Brian Morin. Now this deer doesn't really have 6 legs. It's just the angle of the photo, but we love this one. Looks like a nice sunshine on the deer as well. So Brian Morin from Kingston, Ontario, we're giving you your personalized forecast. Minus 9 is the high today in Kingston, with a lot of sunshine. Finally, throughout southern Ontario, the clouds are clearing and you will see a pretty nice day today. A lot colder today, and a clipper that's going to move through the Great Lakes region and partly to Windsor. Niagara could see a few flurries as well. This is going to be late tonight. Now, yesterday, of course, being Blue Monday, the Weather Network commissioned a study, and we asked Canadians, what do you think about the winter blues? What really gets you down in the winter time? So here is a few facts. 25% of Canadians blame heavy snow for their winter blues. Do you agree? I really like this one, and I have to agree with this. 46% of Canadians say they have a bigger appetite in the winter versus the summer. Yeah, I agree with that one. And let's get into this. This is 49% of Canadians say shoveling snow is the worst part of winter. I'm not going to agree with this one. I'm saying the worst part of winter is the lack of daylight, but have you noticed now into mid-January, it's getting a little bit better at 5:30. Still a little bit light out there. It's nice. And lastly, we'll get into this. 19% of Canadians combat winter blues by praying for warmer weather. Turning into prayer. I like that one. Now, as we look at some of our winter blues and some of the snow, we are seeing snow today across the prairies, very light in terms of the snow, less than 3 centimeters throughout Saskatchewan. And then this is our bigger snow story. This is up through Labrador, where 50 centimeters of snow has already fallen. Yeah, the video is just incredible when we talk about this snow. And then this, start thinking about this. This is a wind map. What does it look like? We're talking more about that throughout the hour.
Rachel, back to you.
All right, maybe bring Kelly a nice warm drink because, yeah, you can see her breath there. You can see how cold it is. Yesterday, Monday morning, the city of Toronto was at 0 degrees. That was the high temperature yesterday. But today, yeah, it's a big drop in temperatures. Montreal, same thing goes for you. 1 degree yesterday. Today, your high is minus 12. So when we talk about the polar air, it's really here, and it's starting to settle in nicely. This morning, Montreal, minus 17, minus 20 in Ottawa. This does not take into account the wind chill. This map does, though. Minus 19 in Pembroke, minus 16 in Barrie. A very cold morning. I have to mention Timmins this morning. Timmins, minus 16 in the afternoon, but this morning, it's minus 31. That's freezing cold. Yeah, when we take a look at these wind chills, it's over the top. Let me show you the snow, though. The snow today, a few light flurries, but overall, this system continues to push on further east. This is still going to be a problem, still going to be very snowy throughout Labrador this morning. But as we look at the live radar along the St. Lawrence, a lot more calm today, but the wind chills extremely cold, minus 29 with the wind chill in Saguenay this morning. Pair that with some winds that are gusting around 55 kilometers an hour, the visibility is low out there and it's dangerous in terms of the travel. So to the north we had all the snow, and to the south we had mild temperatures and, well, a good amount of rain. 31 millimeters of rain in Yarmouth. Of course, yesterday you were under that rainfall warning. When we see some of the peak wind gusts here, wreck house wind warnings were in place. 114 kilometers an hour. Yesterday Nathan Coleman was joining us from the Dartmouth waterfront. His hair was blowing around everywhere. We almost couldn't even hear him in some segments as the wind in his microphone was really extreme. So you can just get a picture of those conditions if you live there. Well, you felt those conditions too. This is a look at the warnings and what is still in place. Northern peninsula of Newfoundland looking at freezing rain. We were checking out the radar a little bit earlier in the show, and yeah, that's definitely showing there. Blizzard warnings, freezing rain warnings, extreme cold. We have all the details throughout the hour, and we'll continue to break down this very snowy system in Labrador.
Very good morning to you. It is Tuesday, January the 20th. Rachel Schoutsen in for Nicole Karkic. What are the top stories today, Rachel?
Well, 60 centimeters and counting. We started off this morning at 40, then up to 50, now 60.
Wow.
The story of 3 clippers, who's getting those, and the air, the polar versus the Pacific.
Absolutely. All right, so we talk about 60 centimeters and counting. We're talking about around Wabash and Labrador City, Western Labrador. Trans-Labrador Highway shut down from there over towards Churchill Falls, and it's going to continue to snow today, and with the winds blowing it all around Newfoundland, watch for very slippery roads this morning. We got some freezing rain, some slush, some slop out there. Take it easy.
When we take a look at all of that snow, pair it up with wind gusts around 55 kilometers an hour.
Nasty.
It's just really over the top. Let's have a look at some of the warnings here.
Yes.
So we go through the blizzard warning, the freezing rain, the winter storm, really just a big mix of warnings here.
Yeah.
So if you plan to travel, most of the highways shut down,
yeah,
but
you really
it's
can't.
Just treacherous.
No,
yeah.
you can't. And, this is the kind of snow where you could really hurt yourself trying to clear out. Of course, we're concerned about, all that landing on roofs of people's homes and that. Right now, on the Newfoundland radar, unfortunately, Environment Canada doesn't have a radar up in Labrador, but we know the snow's falling. And you see that really rain, snow, freezing rain mix across western areas and northern areas of Newfoundland.
Let's show you Labrador now.
Yeah, this is it.
This is just a lot of white in this video. It is just incredible. You can see the blowing snow there. Thank you so much for sending in this video. Really, just over the top in terms of this snowfall. And as you can see here, we're putting 60 plus centimeters because it really is just growing by the minute.
It is.
And how high will it be by the time we end this show?
That's probably up to the hydro
Yeah.
wires. Happy Valley Goose Bay, 10 centimeters in counting, but you've also been seeing some freezing drizzle this morning. So the snowmobilers, I'm sure, will be happy, but right now it's a no-go out on either way.
Warm if they're heading off to school this morning.
Yeah.
Sun and cloud, a better day today than yesterday.
Look at all that rain, and keep in mind with colder temperatures, we could be running into some icy roads out there as well in parts of New Brunswick, PI, and Nova Scotia.
So this is a look at the January average snowfall and what you've actually seen. We're keeping up on track of the snowfall totals in Labrador, so don't go anywhere.
Okay, Rachel, we're going to send it back to you.
All right, good morning, Kelly. Thanks so much for joining us live in Guelph, Ontario. She'll be checking in with us throughout the show. Glad to see you this morning. Terrific Tuesday today. Yeah, yesterday was Blue Monday. We've been talking about that throughout the show. This is a look at some of Monday's temperatures. The high, 0 in Toronto, 1 in Montreal. Montreal really captures my attention here. Same thing with Halifax. Nice mild air today. Totally different story. This is what we're looking at into the afternoon. Minus 12 in Montreal. Huge drop there, 1 in Halifax, and things are going to be getting even colder as we move on throughout the week. Well, let's look at our temperatures into the afternoon. Going to feel like minus 11, Barrie minus 16. When we talk about the extreme cold, yeah, it's up here. This afternoon, Timmins is minus 16. Right now, it's minus 31 in Timmins. I'm sending you a very warm hug because that is freezing. Hard to deal with freezing cold here. Throughout Quebec, temperatures are also into the mid-minus 20s with the wind chills. A much calmer day along the St. Lawrence in terms of the weather. And as we look at the active weather, yeah, we're looking at you in Labrador City as this system will continue to drop snow. Yeah, look at this. 60 plus centimeters. Visibility less than 500 millimeters, multiple road closures, highways are closed through here. Travel is almost impossible, and the snowy system is going to continue here throughout the day today. When we look at this system and we look at the big totals here, really did bring up your totals throughout St. John's, Deer Lake, Gander. This is January's average snow compared to what you've seen. It was a fairly dry December. So in January, the snowfall totals really starting to build up. 85 in St. John's, so a decent amount of snow. And when we talk about a decent amount of snow, how about 30 plus centimeters today through Wednesday? This could be tacking on top of the 50 that some places have already seen. A lot saw the rain. Thanks, Norbert, for sending in that from Shediac. Down through the Maritimes, this was a big rainy story. 27 millimeters, 31 millimeters. 31 millimeters in January. Rainfall warnings were in place. The wind was also something to talk about today into the afternoon. -2 in Charlottetown, but the sun, yeah, it's moving through the Maritimes. We have more on all the active weather, so don't go anywhere. Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But Eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time.
Well, hello and good morning. It is Tuesday, January 20th. Boy, 2015 whipping by.
Oh, it is. I know. And whipping snow, too.
Yes,
That's
is it
what
ever?
we're talking
What are our
about.
top stories, Rachel?
60 centimeters and counting. 60 centimeters of snow. We're
2
breaking
feet.
that down. Oh, man, throughout the hour. The story of 3 clippers and also polar versus Pacific.
Let's start this off, though, giving your national temperatures for these are the highs today, and the Pacific versus polar.
Yeah.
I think we can find the Pacific air is on the west side, and the certainly the polar air is really central areas of Canada.
For sure. Montreal, -12. Yesterday it was 2.
Yes.
Huge dip. Huge
Indeed.
dip in temperatures. Okay, let's go outside. We'll find the cold with Kelly Noseworthy. Kelly, fill us in this morning.
Nice to see it rising earlier and setting.
Yes. Oh, I know. Thanks so much, Kelly. All right, we'll check in with her throughout the
All
hour.
right.
And this is what we're looking
counting
at.
snowflakes by the billions, by the
Yeah,
way.
we're
in Labrador.
speechless about this.
We are.
60
So-
centimeters.
Good for the snowmobilers, but it's going to snow all day today, and the wind will be an issue as well, and tomorrow will be a better day. So lots of watches and warnings from Environment Canada, including freezing rain in parts of Newfoundland this morning. So very, very slippery out there.
Let me show you what the snow looks like.
The Trans-Labrador Highway is closed.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let's see, Air Labrador, flights aren't running. Or flying, I should say. A lot of schools closed as
Yeah.
well, and I can't cancel school. I would be wildly exceeding my authority if I said schools are closed, but schools are closed, and I think they're going to be closed tomorrow as well. And I would not be surprised some areas may be closed for the rest of the week.
Just a little school forecast. You can thank Chris Murphy for that.
We'll see. A lot of digging out to go. Mixing, we had a lot of rain, about 20 millimeters or so in St. John's last night. The next story, let's look ahead. This one here, our meteorologists are thinking it's probably going to be a miss for Nova Scotia, but not in Newfoundland. Look at the track. That should be a big snow, potentially Western Avalon and Gander. So
Yeah, and this as well. This is going to be bringing some
Yes.
snow in through Ontario.
That's right.
The third clipper of the week.
The third clipper, the next one is just going to bring a little bit of snow to southwestern areas of Ontario tonight and tomorrow, a little more, maybe 3 centimeters. That's that one right there. And then the next one will bring potentially a few more centimeters for northern Ontario.
And this is the pattern, the mild air, the Pacific versus the polar.
Alrighty, we'll have more updates from Kelly Noseworthy and Rachel and myself coming up.
Rachel, have you noticed that?
Well, you know what, Kelly, I was actually talking behind the scenes with our producer, Mike Gentile, and he said he was on the search for kale. He couldn't find kale anywhere. So yes, the frost. A really good story there, Kelly. I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, as we look at our temperatures right across the country, this is what Monday looked like. Mild air across the west. It's getting colder in the east. Yesterday was a comfortable day. 1 in Montreal, 0 in Toronto. Temperatures, they're taking a tumble. Yeah, they're heading downwards here. This morning, -12 in Toronto, -17 in Montreal. Huge temperature dip throughout Quebec. And this is what the wind chills look like. -8 in Hamilton, -11 in the city of Toronto. It's a cold one this morning. So let's go outside to Kevin Yard. And Kevin, you have a pretty good assignment this morning. Fill us in. I'm jealous. That's all I'm going to say. Enjoy that ice wine, Kevin. Now, as we look at these temperatures, minus 11 in Marathon, you can see the wind chills aren't going to be a huge story into the afternoon, but the temperatures are cold. The base temperature here, minus 16 in Timmins. This morning in Timmins, it feels closer to minus 30. Big snow system. This is a look at some of the numbers that have already fallen, and this will continue throughout Labrador today. And of course, we're breaking down all of those numbers throughout the hour.
Well, hello there and good morning. It is Tuesday day.
Yeah, this is epic. 60 centimeters of snow and counting.
It's 2 feet.
Crazy amounts of snow here. The story of 3 clippers. Who's lucky enough to get those? And also polar versus Pacific when we talk about the air.
We are certainly talking about that. Let's take a look at across the country and your national highs today. Calgary 2 degrees. This will be by far the coolest day of the week. You're going to get into some serious warmth in the long-range forecast. Minus 2 Regina, some flurries, not much accumulations. Minus 6 in Toronto. Ottawa, Montreal, much colder today than yesterday.
Oh, yeah. And I should say, Windsor, you're getting a few flurries today as the first clipper moves by, another one into tomorrow.
Speaking of a few flurries.
Yeah, this is more than a few. Oh, my goodness. Labrador City.
Can't be done.
No,
School's closed. We've got Air Labrador flights grounded as well. So you got snow blowing snow. Goose Bay's seen less amounts of snow, but you're also seeing some freezing drizzle as well. And there's some blizzard warnings and freezing rain warnings out towards the coast in northern Newfoundland. Freezing rain warnings.
And this system, it will continue throughout the day today. We're not seeing it clearing really into tomorrow. The biggest bulk of the snow has fallen, yes, but we're still seeing a possible 30 more centimeters.
We are. Watch the drive also on some northern routes in the Trans-Canada Highway, mainly in western areas of Newfoundland, but we're seeing a lot of slop and slush as well, even in areas that have been dealing with rain. And then, Rachel, when we look long range, we talked about the clippers, so there's the next one. It's really the Erie shores that are going to see, a dusting, maybe 2 to 3 centimeters of snow. Toronto should miss this one. Ottawa, Montreal should miss it. And then this storm Thursday night may clip Nova Scotia, but certainly is making a beeline for Newfoundland. And this does look like primarily snowfall.
Yeah, and this system here, this could be bringing some snow in through Ontario and Quebec as well, just to start you off into the weekend. And when we talk about the air, well, the polar versus Pacific, this is the battle here.
This really is. So the cold air is moving in. By the way, extreme cold warnings have now been issued for around Timmins, Iroquois Falls, Matagami, Quebec, Chibougamau, feeling like the minus 40s this morning, while the west, ridge of high pressure over Idaho is going to bring temperatures into Calgary to the double digits.
All right, don't go anywhere. We have more on all of Labrador snow, plus all of your temperatures. That's coming up. Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But Eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now, as some of the temperatures this afternoon, minus 12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time.
Because we all need it this time of year. For now, Rachel, back to you.
Oh yeah, very good advice there, Kelly. When the sunshine comes out, take it all in. And in Windsor, I want to mention, you could be seeing a few flurries late day today as the first of 3 clippers this week. Yeah, 3 clippers is going to just skirt by your area. Now, as we recap yesterday, here's some of the high temperatures. Big drop in Montreal. 1 degree yesterday. Today, the high is minus 12. It is going to be a freezing cold day. We do have some new extreme cold alerts in place. We'll get into that in just a second. But look at some of the wind chills. Minus 16 in Barrie, minus 19 in Pembroke, though. And that's what you're in store for again today. But this is where the extreme cold is, stretching from Timmins all the way up and towards Quebec. This is where wind chills will feel like the minus 40s. Yes, into the afternoon, Timmins temperature minus 16. Same thing goes in Kapuskasing. And as Kelly mentioned, not a big wind story today, so that's why we're not seeing big wind chills right across northern Ontario. As we look into Quebec, this is what your wind chills are like. Minus 19, minus 25, very cold up and towards the north. Let me show you this must-see video. You gotta check this out. It is crazy. 60 centimeters and growing. Wabush Airport has recorded that this morning. The visibility is so low with these wind gusts, and this snow is going to persist throughout the day today. So, of course, we're keeping updated right here. This is an interesting look. This is average versus the total in January in terms of the snow. So we do have the January average 96 centimeters in Gander, St. John's 89, looking very close to that, 85 centimeters. That's what's already fallen this January. So the snowfall totals, they're going to continue to rise, especially up in Labrador. Throughout Newfoundland, your snow story, very little today. Sea effect snow possible. You could also be seeing that as well down in towards Nova Scotia. A mild air that you saw, well, as the storm passed through yesterday. 31 millimeters of rain in Yarmouth. Imagine if all of that fell as snow. Big snowfall totals, that's what it would have equaled here. As we look at this afternoon in terms of the temperatures, it's a clear day today throughout the Maritime provinces. This is what we're tracking in terms of the precipitation. Big snow to the north, a mixing, freezing rain warnings in place throughout northern Newfoundland, and we'll have the details throughout the hour. Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But Eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time.
Symptoms.
Well, as we look at our air right now, it really is the battle between the Pacific air above seasonal temperatures throughout the west and the polar air where it's extremely cold out through eastern Canada. We're looking at daytime highs in Thompson of -19 and -30. Well, I'm glad you're here with us this morning. Jacqueline Whittle now joining the show, and we have been tracking big snowfall totals in Labrador. And when I started the show, Jacqueline, this said 40 centimeters and counting, then up to 50, now 60. I'm sure during your show it's going to say 70 and counting.
I'll tweet you and let you know if
yes,
it does.
Please do.
Also, apparently we got the memo to match today.
You
know,
that.
Oreo
some
cookie.
inversion going on
some
here.
Inversion, even a better play on words. Weather inversion. Okay, the story of 3 clippers. So we've got a lot of business going on today, but they're all very small storms. And then polar versus Pacific air. We've been talking a lot about, not getting down to these -30s and 40s in most of the country. So yeah, there is some cold up to the north. It'll stay up there for now.
Good news. And we can see where the cold is. Yesterday, Montreal was 2 degrees in the morning, now down to -12, feeling like -21. So this is a must-see video. And I'm sure, Jacqueline, you're going to use this throughout the morning because this is just incredible. No, but today is still going to be a snowy day.
That's right. And there you go. Wabash, 60 centimeters plus. Gusts at 55. That made for visibility less than 500 meters. Sept-Îles, Quebec yesterday, 5 millimeters of freezing rain. And we know Quebec City the day before had 11 millimeters with a prolonged period of about, 6-7 hours, I think it was.
Yeah, and
freezing rain.
Speaking of freezing rain, the northern peninsula of Newfoundland still under that freezing rain warning. So this is a look at the snow for today. 30 plus centimeters. That's going to be on the higher end. This is some sea effect snow throughout Newfoundland, and you could also see a few trace amounts throughout Nova Scotia today. Now, in terms of the temperatures, that's the cold.
Yeah, not too bad, right? Wawa -20, -18 for Marathon. I mean, could be -40s, right? And we might be getting that into the first week of
There's
February.
the silver lining.
There's the
could be -40s. Meanwhile, here in Oakville, it's like -4.
That's right. Yeah, it's not so bad, right? That's my shameless plug there for you to watch The Long Ranger with Dr. Doug and I. But yeah, we are looking at a really cold, return of some very cold air into February.
Now, I do want to mention, City of Toronto has issued an extreme cold alert because overnight it's going to feel like -16. So yes, very cold. This morning in Timmins, when we started off the morning show, Jacqueline, it was -30. That was the temperature. So quite chilly.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the system. So this is a look ahead. This is by Wednesday. High pressure in the east, a little clipper. This one has been not really sure what it wants to do. That storm that moves through the eastern side of Newfoundland. Now it looks like, we're going to see 10 to 15 centimeters of snow, and then watching these 2 pieces of energy and what they do next for Atlantic Canada by the weekend.
And I do want to mention this before it gets into Atlantic Canada. This is going to be bringing snow throughout Ontario and Quebec. Quickly, we'll get into some temperatures for this afternoon. The milder air, and Edmonton's going to be 7 by Thursday and Friday.
And Calgary is going to be maybe 13 as we get into the end of the week. Stay with us, and I'll join you for the rest of the morning.
It's closer than you think.
Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But Eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time.
Than you think.
Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time. Well, if you live across the prairies, finding the warmth is not going to be an issue for you. Above seasonal, and these temperatures will climb throughout the week. But eastern Canada, you're feeling more of that polar air. So getting away and going to the Bahamas, I'm sure that's very appealing right now as some of the temperatures this afternoon, -12. That's the high in Ottawa. So let's check out the forecast for the Bahamas. Nassau, 28 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Book that vacation and have a great time.